Hey, future millionaires. In today's article review, we're going to go over 9 skills that helps some people become multimillionaires. Before we jump into the review, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share with some friends and family. This will help the channel grow and reach out to more individuals just like you who want to become a future millionaire, who want to be on the path to becoming a multimillionaire. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this article review. Before we jump into this, I want to call out that this article is based on personal finance expert and author of bestseller I Will Teach You to Be Rich, lessons from his book, Ramit Sethi. Also, I want to call, he has a Netflix special. Let's jump into this review, see what his advice is. First up, knowing how to spend. And what he's calling out is you can't be too frugal along your path to become a millionaire. You got to know which sectors you want to spend on and which sectors you don't need to spend on, you need to cut back on. And it's all about analysis and knowing where spending makes the most sense for you and enjoying life along the way. So a lot of times when we're working with people, we advise them, make sure you have some fun money that you could spend it on whatever you want. No judgment-free spending zone that you alone agree to, or if you're in a relationship, you and your partner agree to. Next up, I want to call it out. Spending to save. Good example that is called out. Sometimes paying a little more so you could do a direct flight. You save time. And then also another time for these work-at-home professionals, especially like a good example, professionals who have children, maybe sometimes it makes sense to spend time to have a house cleaner. So you can have more high quality time with your family and friends, or even children. And think of it this way: that could lead to an indirect networking opportunity. That could lead to your next best career move. So sometimes it makes sense to spend a little more. Now we advise budgeting for it, a little more to save time. And then that time, if you utilize it well, to rest, relax, and connect with people, could really be fruitful over the long term. Create opportunities. Next up, number 3, I love this one, knowing when to rent versus when to buy. And it's controversial, but you got to think of it this way. Just because you're approved for that mortgage, it does not mean it makes sense for you to be buying at this time, right? I want to be really clear about this. Renting versus buying is very controversial, but it's a very personal decision. You really got to think about all the factors, because when you own the home, the mortgage is just the beginning of your expenses. You also have to take care of the repairs and insurance and HOA. And now I'm a homeowner and I know this, but that's after years of practice. My first home experience was not as lovely, we'll say, right? Because I jumped into it. The second time too. But the third time, oh no, I was very shrewd about it and I really thought about every expense going in. So really, knowing when to rent versus buy. There are periods in life that it may not make sense. And I want to call out, like, I think about some of these professions that there's heavy periods of time where they're down deep studying and traveling. It may make sense to rent. Like young doctors, for example, like they're still in pre-med and all that, and that type of stuff. Really may make sense for them to rent. And I'm just using that as a very clear example because they're working so hard to come home and be spackling walls and painting and stuff. Yeah, right. Come on now. So just again, renting, knowing when to rent versus buy. That's a really great point. I love it. This one, not a big fan. Not fearing debt. I'll tell you why I'm not a big fan of it. The way they posed it is, I'm going to be debt free, non-mortgage. Agree. Love it. But then they're like, oh, maybe you should hold on to your mortgage longer. I think it's a balanced approach, to be very honest with you. In most cases, when you get to a point where you can be balanced, where you can put a little extra in your mortgage, but you can also be investing and still living life. But it's about having a balanced approach. Number 5, controlling your own finances. And what he's talking about here is, if you're working with a financial advisor, you need to make sure that you have the ability to make decisions within it. You cannot completely hand over the wheel of your building wealth journey to a financial advisor. You want them to be more a partner in your building wealth journey, and then being very clear on how they get paid, and then what incentivizes them to get paid. Are they closed fund only, where they only stick with certain funds and they're getting commissions by staying in those funds? And maybe those funds don't really work for you, right? You should have a choice. You should be very comfortable with what's occurring, comfortable how the person is being paid. And if you're not comfortable with it, you should consider leaving. All right. Again, you should be very comfortable with these people. This is a good one. Being very conscious of what is paying your bills. And he's alluding to the fact that some people dive in too much on starting a side business, and they're not really clear about it, and they don't think through if it's actually paying the bills. So he calls out 3 good questions you should really ask yourself about your side business or you growing your income to make sure it's profitable. What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? And are people willing to pay for it? Because if the first 2 are great, that's awesome. But if no one's willing to pay for it, maybe this should really stay a hobby until you can figure out how to make it really big and then possibly replace your income. So be very cautious about your side business endeavors. Make sure it's profitable. And on top of that, make sure you're still getting some joy out of it. But before you walk away from your 9 to 5, as they say, be sure that you understand how your side gig might actually cover your bills or not. Because if it's not, it's just some side gig, and that's great, good use of time, but be very conscious of it. Next up, avoiding financial pressures. A lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves to limit their spending and causes unneeded stress. However, conversely, there's the other side of this too. There's the keeping up with the Joneses and trying to keep up with your peers and colleagues. Their financial path is not yours. So you really should tune your finances so that you can have some guilt-free spending, and then you also can live on your journey, right? And your journey may be renting versus one of your colleagues who's in a position where they have kids and they've established themselves a little further financially, and maybe there's home ownership. You've got to have your own path. And there's going to be a lot of societal pressures, but you got to figure out what the path is that makes the most sense for you to meet your overall long-term financial goals and enjoy life along the way. That's why I like about a lot of this article is about figuring out a way to enjoy life along the way. And to my budget warriors or my spending plan warriors, I love this one. Understanding the true expenses of a monthly cost for you. So I think this is really important. A lot of times when we're analyzing our budget, it's really important to understand everything that is monthly and then the associated cost. You think about cars in particular, like you really have to have all the associated costs with a car or vehicle, right? What is the insurance? What is the gas? What is the general maintenance? And if you're not budgeting for maintenance at all, you should. On top of that, think about how much the cost is for replacing tires. The bigger things that you know are going to happen, right? So monthly costs, I love this one because really, if you're not thinking about the month to month up front, it's going to be hard to have that built-in picture to build wealth and even enjoy life in a way that doesn't have big cycles of debt, right? Because if you think about the month to month, then you could also think about your spending, your saving plan and spending plan. Knife, love this one. Great wrap up. Managing your money. You got to have this skill of managing your money well. And you've got to be thinking to yourself, how can I improve my saving rate? How can I invest more? What allocations do I need to do? And on top of that, it's not listed directly in the article, but it alludes to it. Also, after all that, in the mix of that, how much can I allocate to do what I want? And then what I want could be vacations, could be hobbies, it could be guilt-free spending. But managing that money and knowing your goals is paramount in achieving your multimillionaire status. Hope you enjoyed the review. Great article, not bad. We'll meet up one day. We'll do this together. We'll go line for line, skill for skill. It's going to be awesome. 9 skills that help Ramit become a millionaire. And you know what? This could help many people, everyday people. 1, knowing how to spend. Knowing how to spend. Number 2, knowing when it makes sense to spend a little more to save time. Because again, that save of time could create opportunities for you to meet with people and enjoy life a little more. Number 3, knowing when to rent versus to buy. Again, not everyone needs to be a homeowner right away. And in many cases, it doesn't make sense right away to be a homeowner. So again, it's important to have a good understanding of knowing when to rent versus buy. Number 4, debt management. This is critical in your path to become a multimillionaire. Gotta agree. As long as you are taking a balanced approach and getting rid of those credit card debts and focusing on the bigger picture of investing. Controlling your finances. Number 5. This makes a lot of sense. This one's great because it calls out the importance of understanding if you're working with a financial advisor, how they're getting paid, and if it makes sense to you, and if it doesn't, should you switch or should you maybe even go self-directed? These are big decisions, but you've really got to evaluate them. If you want to become a multimillionaire, you're going to make some big decisions in the long run. Number 6, being very conscientious of what pays the bills. Have a solid understanding of, is it your full-time job? Do you rely on a part-time job as well, and that, or even a side business? Like, you've got to really be conscious about especially if you're trying to transition from full-time to part-time, full-time to that side gig, you really got to be conscious that that side gig is making it all work. Avoiding financial pressures, number 7. That's keeping up with the Joneses, falling into all the societal norms. This is your financial journey. So you don't feel pressure to follow all the societal norms. You're going to have to fine-tune this to your goals. Number 8, understanding your true expenses of monthly costs. Gotta agree, it's really critical. And number 9, finally, managing your money very well. So having a good understanding of where your money's going and do the percentages make sense for you and your multimillionaire goals. Hope you enjoyed the review. Talk to you soon. Hey, thanks for staying to the end. This video is brought to you by the Next Chapter team. If you enjoyed the video, please take a moment to hit that like button, drop a comment, subscribe, share with your friends and family. This will help the channel reach out to more individuals just like you. We offer one-on-one coaching where we work with people and small businesses to determine a clear path to achieving their financial goals. This includes things like budgeting to reduce debts, planning for big purchases, and even learning how to build wealth with the tools that you have readily available to you. So please see our link below to schedule a free 30-minute call with our team to talk through coaching and understanding your current financial situation. Also, check out some of our affiliate links below for high yield savings account. This is a great place to put your money when you're saving up for those big purchases and your emergency fund. Check out some of our videos right here, and please enjoy and see you in the next video.